Oh,
Yes, Carol Baskins would be a great therapist.
That is true.
If you could tame a tiger, you can tame me.
It's a beer.
What kind of fancy 1%er is this? Whoa. Welcome to May the Zoo Be with you, America's most 1%iest podcast. I'm, of course, joined by the man who knows magic better than the magicians himself, Josh.
Wow.
I am also joined by the man who edits out his fails, including Jason Double Masters, Louis DeGeorge.
Wait, what? I don't know that reference.
You edited out all the things you got wrong on sorcery last week, and then you didn't know that Jace was in Double Masters.
All right. That's fair. All that's fair.
I know that's fair.
And we are
That's
joined by George. That's all he is. And all he will ever be.
And that's enough. And that's enough.
And that's enough.
And that's enough.
That's a beautiful mess of enough. All right, everyone, welcome back to the podcast. We're so glad that you joined us. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes. Jesus. You can hit the subscribe button right now.
AMP. We're on AMP.
Wait.
We're on AMP.
Know this? 37% of the people who watch this podcast haven't hit subscribe. Isn't it crazy? That's insane.
I want you to know, Louis, I'm no longer one of those. I subscribe to you this week.
You're a jerk. George had to subscribe for my Commander live stream the other day, which, by the way, if you're not joining the Commander live streams, you're missing out. George had to subscribe so he could comment because I changed it.
Dude, subscriber only mode is the best mode. Yeah. It is the way.
George just subscribed to my channel, of which he's been on every week for nearly 2 years.
Wait a minute. George, then I know for sure he's not subscribed to my channel. He's Absolutely been on my channel too.
And then he criticized me because he said, I just got Rudy out of my algorithm, Alpha Investments, out of my algorithm. And it was finally all StarCraft 2.
I only want to watch StarCraft 2 content, and all of you other people are in my way. I love you, Rudy. I will search for your videos sometimes, but listen, when I want recommendations, I want StarCraft 2.
All right. Let's tell everybody what they're watching today.
You're watching StarCraft. You're watching a Hawaiian shirt podcast that discusses StarCraft 2.
I have a Hawaiian shirt surprise for you later on in the episode. I didn't even tell you about it. Today we're going to talk about distribution prices for Magic the Gathering being lowered. Amazingly weird. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about all the foils, including boom. Oops, that's the wrong button. Spoiler alert. Including boom. This one. Then we're going to talk about sorcery take 2. We're going to follow up on our conversation last week on sorcery.
I'm not sure why it's called take 2 still.
I don't know. That's all I can come up with.
Considering I was completely correct.
We're going to talk about cryptic cards that are in Tanner's hands. We saw them on
brave takes. Your brave takes, Josh. You're a bold man with brave takes.
We're going to talk about Kickstarter having their retail launching of kits, and then Seance and the LGS kit for MetaZoo. So it'll be a fun old time today. What?
Those are the topics that all we talked about.
That's exactly what we did. We literally did a run through 30 seconds ago. Nobody believes you. I don't know why you're acting surprised, Josh. Did we not just do a run through?
Those were not the topics.
Listen, man, much like sorcery, I'm on the fence on this one. I'm just going to go back. Whichever side is right. That's the side.
At some point, Josh is going to have to choose a side. All right, here we go. Distro prices, everyone. So let me, George, I'm really interested for once to hear your take on this stuff, because 6 months ago we heard from Wizards of the Coast that the prices were going to increase, and prices across the board, I think this is public, prices across the board rose for Magic the Gathering prices 11%.
Yep.
And they cited the global economics and
I want you to know, COVID. Wizards, I feel really bad for you. I am sure you guys are losing your shirt on those 12 packs of foils.
Wasn't it a week after they announced it was their highest profit year too?
Listen, as a shareholder, that's all right with me. I got your back. Hasbro. I will carry your water.
So they announced an 11% increase, push that to stores, and then this past week, one of the distributors announced that they are lowering prices, moving from the set to the next.
And retroactively changing the prices.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That caught me off guard. That's the only thing they said that was like, woo. Yeah. There's less demand than they thought. This isn't hard to understand.
Okay, but who thought?
Then WotC and the distro.
So you think this is working together, WotC and the distro? Because I was confused by it. It came from WotC when prices were raised, and it came from distro when prices were lowered.
as we've seen in other games, they will raise MSRP 10% and distro will raise their prices 12%. They will try to get an extra cut. That's just round numbers, not magic, not about any distro, just like we have seen other distros do this in some industries. The demand's not there right now. And I think part of it's like, listen, like WotC went from 1 print run collector boxes to 2 print run collector boxes in a lot of cases. They did more than 1 print run, I believe. At least they did more than 1 wave of double masters collectors.
Yeah.
Like I got offered double masters collectors for a month.
I have certainly at a pack to pack basis been offered more collector packs of double masters than I was draft packs.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, listen, like we've always said this about all the games, right? They can't have it both ways. You can't print a bunch of boxes and raise prices.
Yeah.
Like you can't increase supply and then wonder why prices go down. Well, that's the way economics works.
Well, and this go ahead.
I think like these distros are like finally getting the hint that like the days of gouging on collector boxes seem to be over. Like, one of the distros had a sale list. They were $60 more than TCG Player on some of the boxes still.
Yeah, that was brutal.
I mean, like, why would I buy a box for $60 more than I can sell it before fees, before shipping?
So here's my question. I guess it's kind of my take too. I feel like, and I'm curious, do you guys feel this way? It's not even necessarily stores that are rejecting the price point. I feel like it's the consumers that are rejecting the price point.
Of course.
We're seeing all these collector boxes on the open market. Nobody is picking them up for the $200 price point. Like the sales of even Dominaria United collector boxes. And but even going to like Crimson Vow and all these, like people aren't willing to pay that amount of money for what's in those packs for standard. I'm talking mostly standard. Because I think Double Masters has been pretty successful with the prices.
Huge success.
Double Masters has been bonkers.
Yeah, I think for the high end product, it's kind of okay. It's still ridiculous, but we saw it with the first Double Masters with the VIP packs and that kind of stuff. Like people are willing to pay high end prices for a large amount of cards that they know will be eternally legal and eternally, used in their modern decks and that kind of stuff. But for the standard release stuff, people are refusing to pay that. I would say upwards of $200 for a collector box. That's kind of where my mind is.
I think that's largely true. I tend to think like WotC is just frankly like they're printing too many collector boxes all of a sudden, and they'll fix this. Like this doesn't scare me. This doesn't bother me. Like when I first, when they first came out with Throne collectors, I remember having to like claw to get a box a week. Like you would beg. Like they wouldn't ship them. Like they were hard to get.
They were collectors. They were collectors.
Absolutely. Like I now know my numbers for Infinity. I'll have plenty for my store. I'm gonna have plenty for my store.
Plenty or too much?
Well, listen. All right. Enough of your making me sad. So like I'll have if you need.
We haven't gotten the FUD word yet from George.
I was about to say I tried. I did my best.
If you need Infinity, message me in Louis' Discord, and I'll connect you to Tyler, who will sell you Infinity.
After you message George, before you message George, message me when I'm out. You're not using my Discord to outsell me.
I subscribe to you. That's the benefit. So
before either of you message any of them, message me just because I'm a friend. I'll say hi.
Actually, I want to let's take a break and give a shout out to the May the Zoo Be With You Discord section, because that section's been popping this week.
I wonder what's between that section and the other sections. We got to dig into that a little bit later. Me. So
you're in the other section.
We're in all of the other sections.
That's not accurate.
Not all.
I'm in most of the other sections.
Okay. You've opted out of a few of them.
Yes.
One of them. So two of them. So you know who you are.
This content is riveting.
So I mean, like, I think like the collector boxes are now posing a problem. But this is an easily solvable problem. Go back to one print run. Make them collectors again.
So I'm going to have this covered. Let's work backwards. So we're talking about distro prices. Let's start with what should the consumer price be? Like what do you think? In my mind, a draft booster box is still $100. I think for a lot of ways that the market has said that, but there is next to zero markup on $100 box for stores.
It's zero.
Yeah, it's especially on TCG Player. It's negative markup on after fees. So if a store can't make money on $100 box, then what should a draft box be? What should a set box be? What should a collector box be on the market?
Well, a store could make money on a $100 draft box, and the markup wasn't huge. But if you sold a $100 draft box in store before the price increase, you could make some money. Is that not correct?
Increase? Yeah,
yes.
Right. I'm talking about like that's what I'm saying. Let's work backwards. What, as a consumer, where do you guys think the consumers are right now in price? And people who are listening, leave a comment. Like, where do you envision a price of a booster box for this game?
I think that's the disconnect. It's the answer to that is $100.
No, stop it. I mean, like, listen, part of this is consumers need to grow up a little bit. Like a booster box isn't going to be $100 for Magic anymore. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. It was $100 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think this is fair.
Listen, like, I am fine with calling out WotC when they need to be called out. But, like, come on, you guys. A booster box can't be $100 to the day I die.
So, Josh, I think, imagine if there wasn't collectors and set boxes and we still just had draft boxes. Surely you would think that a draft box would be worth more than $100 now.
Yes. In that model, that is fair to me. That is completely
George,
valid.
I think from a store standpoint, stores also have to grow up a little bit and stop thinking that anyone's going to buy a $120 draft box, because it's just not going to happen. But what will happen is people will buy.
Let me. Okay, for all you stores out there, please listen to me closely and do not take Louis' advice.
First off, maybe let Louis finish his damn advice instead of just interrupting.
Finish your damn advice about how stores shouldn't be charging $120. Go ahead.
What stores should do with draft packs is sell them as single packs, and then you have, like, no one buys draft boxes. Nobody wants to open draft boxes.
So
that's right.
So selling draft, I see where you're going. I think your misstep there was saying selling individual packs. You should use draft boxes for draft. Like, there's no purpose of having them on your shelves. It's draft and prize support. If you have them on your shelves, it's so people can buy them to take home and draft, right? Someone who's going to buy loose packs off your shelves need to be buying set and collector. They don't need to be buying loose draft packs off your shelf.
I disagree. I mean, some people like that.
Wait, what?
What do they like about it?
So, like, some people will like collecting like a pack from every set. They do a draft pack because that's what they've always had.
So those people are buying.
Some people, pack. I mean, like, you can host events. I totally agree with that.
Josh, have you thought about that guy who walks in Louis stores and buys one pack every set? Like, that dude. That's the guy I want to base my store around.
All right, man, break one pack out for him.
Some people want to do,
you got. Listen to Louis News Stores. He's got that sweet advice.
Some people want to do like chaos drafts with their friends, so they'll buy one of each, pack for different things. And so what we use draft packs for, and the reason they're on my shelves, is we use them for our league. You have to buy a draft. You don't have to be. The pack that you can get every week is a draft pack.
That's an event. That's an event.
What?
It's kind of an event.
Wait,
it's not like
Louis doesn't know what words mean. We did this last week too. Just accept it and move on.
Like Louis,
you're right. Louis, you're right. That's not an event.
Show up and draft.
But you might be,
anytime you're in the store, you can pick up a pack and add it to your league deck once a week.
You're inadvertently proving my point.
Okay.
Those packs should be for events, for playing the game. Now, whatever catchphrase you want to put in front of that, whether it's a league or it's a draft or it's chaos or whatever phrase you want to use, it's for playing the game. If someone's going to come into your store and open packs, that is not the pack to do it. Right? So you shouldn't have those out for that option. You still
have to have them on the shelf. You said that it shouldn't be on the shelf.
No, it shouldn't, because the 3 people that want to do that can ask you and you can go get them.
We have 20 people in my Dominaria League. 20 people once a week ask for a draft pack. What am I supposed to do? Not have that on the shelf? That seems ridiculous.
Okay, fine. Put it on the little corner of the shelf where those 20 people know to look, and the rest of the customers can buy what people want when it comes.
But, like,
Do you? Because you're
I
really
agree.
fighting
Like,
me on
if you're
this.
buying packs just to rip open because you're bored, you should buy set packs. I agree with that. I don't think that stores should remove draft packs from their shelves. Was my point.
But this goes back to the point of why are people buying? What should they pay for a draft box? Why should they pay $120 for a draft box? Not to open the packs, not for anything but to play the game in some fashion. That is literally what they're constructed for. They're no longer the
George,
premium product.
Why do people buy your $120 draft boxes?
Well, there's several reasons, right? They either want to draft at home, which is like a thing. Like they want to take it and go back to their dorm room or their house and draft at home. They don't want to enjoy Compete Sports' amazing chairs and ambiance for some reason.
Maybe it's
or owner.
Owner is not there. That is not their problem, I assure you. If the owner is there on Friday Night Magic, the owner has much bigger problems than whatever the hell box you're buying. It is past his bedtime. He is cranky, and he doesn't know what any of these boxes mean.
The hammer is coming down.
Yes, like there's bigger problems. They can draft at home, but I mean, like, also like people just like they want the boxes.
Yeah,
like they collect them.
Yeah,
like people like draft boxes.
I can't, in good conscience, tell anybody to invest or collect a box and start with $120 draft boxes, though. Like you can get, there's so many other sources to get a box if you're going to invest in.
Well,
boxes.
I know
like
this
collecting and
crazy
investing
to you,
are two separate ideas, right?
but some people want to support their LGS, Louis.
Sure, I agree. That's awesome.
And like also like it's important for LGSs to give back.
Yep, and $120 draft boxes probably aren't the way to do that.
No, but like giving them double masters at a reasonable price is.
Yeah, that's fair.
These like Louis, you're setting people up for the failure of coming in to Compete Sport and being like, I want a Charizard. I know I have bought every other box on Amazon, but I know that I want my Charizard from you. You're my LGS. No, I'm not your LGS.
Yeah.
You live near me, but I'm not your LGS.
Right.
Like people like support's a two-way street, folks. That's the hard truth of this business.
Okay. So George says $120 draft boxes.
Yeah.
Set boxes are what then?
130, 125.
Okay. And then what's
I'm very similar price.
Because they have less packs. What's a collector box?
225 to 250.
Really?
You guys, I gotta eat.
No, I didn't think we were talking about with the current margin. I thought our ideal price for these things.
Yeah, ideal price, not current
ideal
margin.
price. I think 200.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. I thought ideal price 225. It kind of scares people off a little bit, I think. But
yeah, I think
200 for a collector box is a good number.
If I had my druthers, both set and draft would be 120. Collector would be 200.
Yeah, I think that's a healthy point. And I think anything above that, people start getting antsy. So then, what's a healthy margin on those?
20%, 25%.
Yeah.
Like, listen, like Magic is not a margins game. It's a volume.
It's a numbers game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's also an easy game, right? Like, how do I sell Magic? I put it on the shelf.
Right.
Like that's what I have to do to sell Magic.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever hosted a Learn to Play Magic event. I don't think I've ever had anybody request one.
Right.
Because people know how to play Magic, or the community will teach them how to play Magic. Right. They don't need me to learn.
I think that that Wizards wants to see $250 collector boxes.
Yeah.
140. I mean, we saw this with Kamigawa. $140, $150 set boxes.
That seems
and $120 draft boxes. I think that the community is rejecting those prices, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the back end of that stuff.
I think it's like way too early to say that. To be honest,
your argument about draft boxes, I think it's kind of. I think the question was kind of stupid too, which is mine.
I agree.
But like, I think the bigger issue is there's no demand for draft boxes. All that demand went towards set boxes. Like,
I mean, I think that's largely true.
Right.
I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I think it's too early to call this a failure for the market. I do. Like, I think it, like, if there was one print run of Kamigawa, collector boxes would be 320 plus.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, what Magic has to decide is, do they want to get their prices or do they want to get their volume? You don't get both.
Right.
And like, there's no wrong choice for them. They're printing money either way. But like they get to decide if they want to have their volume or their margins.
Yeah.
Whatever they pick is fine with me. I don't really care.
I do.
I do too. I'd rather have boxes be cheaper. I'd rather have the game be more
you
accessible.
You don't care personally. You don't care as a store.
But
I disagree. Maybe it's the economics of West Virginia, but nobody buys $250 collector boxes. They won't touch that. Probably maybe one or two or three people would buy $210 collector boxes. They're not touching anything over $210. Just not.
Did you sell double masters? What was your price on double masters?
$310. I think.
Did you sell out?
No.
What?
I opened a ton of packs. I mean, I sold out on TCG Player and sold a ton of singles. But like, they don't want boxes at that price. They can't afford it.
But okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Magic is a numbers game. We just talked about it, right? It's a volume game. We've always known. I think even from my side of the table, right, the players know that there's not a ton of margin for their LGS on Magic. Maybe 10 years ago that wasn't common knowledge. I think that's more common knowledge now. My question is, with the change in distribution model, with the lowering of price, this kind of adds a little meat back on the bone for you guys, doesn't it?
Listen, no, because like the reason they're doing that is because we couldn't get the prices they asked us to get.
The reason they're doing that, I think, is because Magic is a volume game. They saw their volume dip, and they think their margins don't matter as much as their volume, and this will increase volume in their eyes.
I am ordering less Brothers of War than I have for any set in a long time.
Gosh, you're going to be wrong. Gosh, I love the timeline of you two both being wrong about Dominaria United, other than Josh, who was right about Liliana, and me being right about Brothers War.
So how was that you two?
Well, I mean, you were still wrong, but we were both wrong. I was just like slightly more wrong.
So Dominaria United's not the set of the year because it's the only one out from the roadmap, and we are in a market lull. Like, that's why? So when everything else comes out and performs the exact same way.
I hate the year structure of Magic. That it's not a calendar year.
You will find any reason for me just not to be right on this.
I forgot that this is the first set of the
Welcome to the podcast, Josh. Welcome to the podcast. You put it together. It took you long enough, buddy.
It is the first freaking
Louis
set.
will fight the definition of green if it means he doesn't have to admit he was wrong.
Oh my god.
He will fight every definition you can.
The fighting is why people watch our podcast.
I hate it here.
Webster.
I hate it here.
That's fine. Go back to reaction phase. Do it live.
R.I.P.
Hey, thanks for stopping into my live pod. Oh wait.
I was busy. I was putting my kid to bed. Dude,
I did not stop it.
Terrible.
Cannot wait to use that excuse.
Okay, so
cannot wait.
All right. You're right. That was not fair because this was the first set of the year. I was thinking Brothers War is the last set of the year.
It also doesn't matter. Like, I think like the market is soft. This is the softest market I've had in a long time. Yeah. Like, this might be the softest market I've seen since the beginning of COVID.
Ooh.
Makes sense.
Like the market's soft. Like, people aren't buying like they used to. Now, I will say like in-store sales are still sky high. Like, we're still doing very well in store, but like I'm in a weird store. A lot of other stores are really struggling.
Yeah.
The market's soft. And like I think Kamigawa, like the fact that they can't break 200 is good evidence of this, candidly.
Yeah.
Like Dominaria can't break 225, which they should really be breaking at this point, I think. Like things aren't doing what we thought they were going to do.
That $300 price point is not looking good, George.
Yeah, update on our bets. Josh,
I need all of you to go buy pellets of Dominaria collectors.
Josh,
I heard there's a second wave of collectors coming. I'm hoping that's a lie.
That's not good. Josh barely skirted with Liliana at $31 or $30.50 was the cutoff price, the median price. I said
he has
40.
2 more weeks. He's going to trounce
he has
you.
1 week, and prices are going to start going.
I already
won.
He already won.
Yeah, he already won. It's available.
Yeah, I already sent him screenshots of cards that were available all throughout the week. I sent them in every time I see one.
But more importantly,
reputable sellers.
We were both just really wrong because Josh said $18
and you said
44. 40.
I thought you said 45.
No,
and then you said 40 for the rest of the
You're
podcast.
Right. The whole podcast I was saying 40, but then it ended up being 45. Anyway, I'm interested to see because I think really for the distro prices, a success of a set should be evaluated close to like what is the difference between distro price and actual retail price. Like Dominaria, like Baldur's Gate is infinitely below distribution price on TCG Player.
I think that's a good way to gauge it, but I mean, like, so it tells me that I think Distro got ahead of their skis on this one. Like, Distro rose prices more than they had to, and they got busted.
Yeah,
they got caught.
Yep.
Like, the consumer was like, wait a minute,
we're not there.
And then, like, you know, they did what they have to do. Now the question is, like, does that fix the problem, or is WotC next?
Yeah.
Or is WotC going to say, like, hey, this didn't go the way we thought either. We're going to fix it. We're going to look into this. And like that, we don't know, because we don't know the price decrease yet, to be honest.
I don't.
That's the thing about Magic, though, right? Like, Magic is so big with such a wide consumer base that they can stick to their guns on this price change.
No, I don't agree with that, to be honest. Like,
I think they 100% can. Who's threatening them?
Here's Lorcana. Shout out. Like, here's my argument, though.
Gosh.
Please.
Like,
wait, how many? Lorcana hasn't printed a box yet, George.
I'm willing to wait 18 months and 2 years for that. Okay, and after 2 decades and 3 months, I will be upset. Then I'm going to be angry.
How much did you kickstart Lorcana?
That would raise $10 trillion.
That would raise $1 million.
So, like, way more. So here is here's where I disagree with you guys. To say that TCG Player for the last few sets is below distribution cost for us would be a remarkable understatement.
Yeah.
Stores are just going to stop buying it.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to do something.
They're just going to pre-sell to whatever their local scene is, and they're not going to take any other product.
I'm thinking of doing that for Brothers of War.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, like, I have cases of all these freaking collector boxes.
Yeah. Yep.
And I got no problem holding on to those bags, and I will, other than Dungeons and Dragons. But like I have no problem holding those bags, because I believe that like Magic will eventually find their footing and go back up. But I'd much rather buy it $135 on TCG Player than the price I paid.
Right. And that's the question, is like, when you can buy it lower, like, why even pre-order sets when it's so consistently bad? Why not just wait and buy on the open market?
I think they're going to have 2 more sets of this. If they can't get it straight in 2 more sets, I think stores are going to look at this and be like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is this working? And I mean, like, honestly, Infinity is going to be an important test of this.
And what they're going to do, and what I think they're going to do, is keep printing more flashy things. You guys ready to transition to the flashy things? Josh, you're about to say something?
Nope.
All right.
He wanted to yell about Infinity,
all
which is going to be a great
foils. So all the foils. So we have seen 2 different foil sides for Magic the Gathering. One is the Pringles. Sorry, I said foils. I meant the Pringles from the Warhammer 40K deck. Did you guys see that opening?
The box opening on YouTube? Yeah, that was rough. That was rough.
And then the other one are these beautiful Galaxy foils that we finally seen. Check these out. Oh my gosh, those look.
Oh my God, Lou, that looks amazing. I can see it on my screen.
You can
sent them to you in a message earlier,
and a text message. So get with the program here. These
incredible.
These are the coolest looking foils I think I've ever seen in Magic. So this is the same texture or same foiling process that Pokemon uses. There's a Pokemon PokeBeach article about this. Kind of crazy. What are your guys' thoughts?
Go ahead, George.
No, I don't. Go ahead.
Okay. So the foily pringling of the Warhammer Super Baller Commander decks it's kind of a letdown. And the reason is there's this weird fantasy world that I live in when a product comes out like this and Wizard tells me it's a premium product. It is unlike anything we've ever seen before. It is a new type of foiling. And I go, okay, they finally fixed it. And then when they didn't, and this is me knowing I'm wrong. I just drink the Kool-Aid and say they must have fixed it. And then when it comes out and they didn't fix it, it's disappointing. Well, now you want to go?
Yeah, now I do want to go because you're wrong.
Go for it.
That's the way it normally runs here. I let you guys be wrong, then I come in and correct.
You could be an action figure, and you pulled the string on your back. All it would say is, "Okay, you're wrong."
I love how George doesn't have a take until somebody else has a take, and then he just goes with the opposite of it with no.
It's content, baby. He's good at it.
So, like, here's where you're actually wrong. This is by a country mile the most limited product I have ever gotten. There is nothing else from Magic that I have received that has come close to my allocation on this ever. I thought that, like, I remember when, like, the Ultimate Secret Lair, Mega Lands, Double Fetch Lands, Omega Lands came out, and I was like, oh my God, I got so few. I got multiples more of those than I do of this. This is the most collectible thing from Magic that I think they have produced maybe ever.
Okay, what did I say that was wrong? You started with that sentence with I was wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. You said it wasn't premium. It's premium. The rarity
George,
makes it premium.
For George,
I said
premium
that.
means expensive. It's all about the money, boss.
I said it
Catch
was
up, Josh.
premium. I
How
said
long
it's,
you been watching our podcast?
I said it was the most premium product, and that came out, and it was still foiled. And I fooled myself into thinking, oh, it's premium. They'll fix the foiling because that's what we're talking about. If you
It's like,
forgotten.
listen, like it's a
What
boutique.
is
It's a boutique product, Josh. Okay.
Can I?
And I thought it was going to be a boutique
Can
product,
I
and
have
when
the
it was
hottest
open,
steak,
it was.
please? Can I have the hottest steak?
Sure. I don't understand why I said those wrong.
Don't
Everything.
care about Pringle foils.
I don't care about Pringle foils either.
I
at all.
think that people who complain about Pringle foils need to learn what a sleeve is and need to learn how to double sleeve their cards. I love you, people in the comment section yelling at me. I love you, but I think that you need to
listen.
I think you need to take,
if you can't afford to double sleeve your cards and get every card you own graded, Louis doesn't.
If you can't afford to double sleeve your premium commander decks,
exactly.
Maybe you should be looking in the mirror about your life choices.
If you can't afford $4 double sleeves, you probably shouldn't be playing Magic the Gathering. Like
that part, I don't agree with. You went too far.
100.
You went too far.
For four, listen, if you can afford $4 double sleeves, send me a message. I'll sell you some sleeves at cost.
If you can't afford them, I'll sell them to you.
Like, it's
not everybody has to have a $20,000 popper deck, Louis. Okay, so
I just think I'm not trying to be like.
God,
I'm not trying to be elitist. I just
unreal.
am. No, it's like $3 though. It's not like it. If you're gonna spend that amount of money on a foil, sell one of your foil cards and buy $3 sleeves. Like I've never had an issue with curling foils, and I feel like the only thing in the TCG world that people care about is my cards are Pringles. Okay. My cards are Pringles. So, do better, everybody. And it's every game. There's never been a game that's ever been released that the cards don't.
God, the takes. I don't care about Pringles either. I really don't. Not my thing. Not my hill to die on. But like, I will say that you're in the mountains of West Virginia and we're on the swamps of South Carolina.
That's fair. Yeah, my cards don't Pringle very much.
Like
I'm in Chicago. It's awesome here.
That's not true. It's about to get.
It's just below everywhere.
18 feet of snow.
It's just go everywhere. It's the Windy City. They're just all over. How do you play games?
You guys have great pizza. So
it's not pizza. It's
soup. My God, you're so wrong.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Deep dish pizza is
Louis.
Not pizza.
Louis is so dumb. It's
fact.
I struggle
we found our agreement, Josh. We found our agreement. Louis is dumb.
Struggle every time you make this. It's soup. It's
That's
soup.
called
soup.
I
hate you.
It's proven.
I hate talking to you.
The cube theory. If you know, you know. The cube theory is proven.
I don't care much about Pringles, but like
it's a taco.
I do think that like the like I don't know, like I get what Josh is saying. Like if there was ever a product that shouldn't Pringle, it would be this.
But I was wrong.
Yeah, you're like you get like half credit.
Hey, that's better than I did. That's better than I did in school.
I'll tell you. I think what we should be talking about. Like, I don't even think they look that good.
I agree with that.
Like, I
thought the Surge foiling was going to be way. Remember when we previewed the Surge foiling and we thought it's got to look cooler in person? It's the camera, it's the shot, it's the angle, and it just doesn't.
I don't know.
They do this thing. They don't spend any money on their foil. They don't do any form of like matting or anything. They just throw the foil on the whole card. Like. The etched foils I thought looked really, really good. They took the time to mask out the top and there was 2 different textures. I thought that looked really, really good. But these are just like one like
it reminds
hodgepodge
me of
of foil.
10th edition Rhea Dawnbringer promo.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought of.
It's like the exact same foiling, and that was over a decade ago. Like
yeah. I thought that same exact thing the second I saw it. It's like a spitting image.
Josh, you really like the Galaxy foils, though, right?
Yes. So I have my stance on Unfinity being a legal set has been known. I will not defend it against you two bozos any further. I am just correct. However, I'm all in on the Galaxy foiling, baby. I asked you guys earlier, how many of each of these lands should I just buy and own? I want them all. I want them all. They're amazing. It looks so good. And these are so premium, they're totally not going to Pringle.
What's the pull rate on? Do you know?
So the regular lands, there's one of the regular lands in every pack. I think there's, I'm going to give numbers and they're going to be wrong. I thought it was one of the regular foil lands in every pack, one in every 7 packs. And collectors pulls are the exact same. It's 1 in every 7, but you get 2 shots at it. There's 2 slots that you can get one in. And then as far as the basic lands, so the ones that are set from the perspective of space, I think that's a even less pull rate than the 1 in 7.
All right, I pulled up the actual numbers.
Am I close?
I have no clue.
Why would you make Josh do this and then pull them up 30 seconds
I thought
later?
you knew, and then he just chose to guess at it. So I
don't Josh, please.
All right.
Thank you. Continue.
You told me
there are between 3 and 5 Galaxy foils in every collector's pack.
Wait, collector box or pack?
In every collector pack,
but they're not all lands.
Accurate.
There's between 3 and I'm reading it from TCG Player's website right now, and everybody can see it other than you, George. In every pack, there's between 3 and 5 Galaxy foils and 10 and 12 traditional foils.
I thought we were only talking about lands. Are we talking about just the all foils? Because
yes, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know what
for it.
Yeah, I could imagine that there would be one foil in every one. Like I don't know.
There's one land in every pack, and 1 in every 7 packs is a foil land, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Those were my numbers. Yes.
Cool. That's gonna make those pretty hard to get. I mean, if you wanted to
assuming any of your numbers are right, those are gonna be hard to get.
If you wanted to deck out your,
it's gonna be one in every. It's gonna be one in every card. Every card is just that.
I think they look sweet though. I'm super excited about them. It gives me a lot of faith in the set. I mean, if the Galaxy foils of those things sell for decent money,
please God, listen to Louis. I need this. I've never over-ordered like I've over-ordered Infinity. Let it be a banger.
I didn't over-order Infinity.
There is no universe in which I did not over-order. The only question is by how much. How many hundreds of boxes of Infinity do I have at the end of this week? Next week.
I might open
during a hurricane, might I add.
I think that's an awesome opening. I think that's an awesome box opening video is the Infinity stuff right away. It's going to look unlike anything.
Do you want a palette to open?
All right.
I'm going to have a lot of time at home moving on.
Got it. So you tell me how many pallets you want. I got you, boss.
I am again going to beg for the algorithm to help us out. Hey, comment section, let us know what you think about the foilings and what's going on. All right,
just
let's
put down in the comment section your favorite Jace that was in Double Masters last week, because Louis clearly didn't know anything about Jace and Double Masters.
I don't need to defend
write down if you preferred, or put down if you like Commander Legends 1 or Commander Legends 2.
Those are the other things. That one was my fault, and I own that. I was talking about Jace Bellerin, the card Jace Bellerin.
That's not what was said. I don't know what those are.
All right, here we go. Let's talk about sorcery. Let's do a little sorcery update. Last week, no, I am leading this discussion.
I had a great talk with him, though.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you.
Talk. You have my permission. You can speak.
Thank you. I want to give the world's biggest shout out. Definitely not to Josh, who was wrong in the earlier section, but to sorcery. They have been so exceedingly kind, and they have been they've reached out a bunch of times. We have finally connected on phone. They could not have been kinder, and they were very clear. They're listen, we know you're skeptical. I'm not calling you to convert you. I am calling to point out like where maybe you didn't have the full story and like better highlight things that I think that we have in place that might help you be more at ease with the product.
Yeah.
They did not threaten. They did not be like, oh, if you say anything bad, you're going to be banned. Nothing stupid. They're a real company. Like they handled things the way a respectable and good company should react. And I want to give them big kudos for that. So please open your beer louder next time. So let me, I don't want to share too much of our private conversation because I told them it would be off the record, but I do want to say this. And I this was cleared with them. I would, whenever somebody says something off the record, it's off the record. They have a procedure in place to oversee the printing in China that I don't know if it'll be good enough, to be candid, but they have a procedure in place to oversee it that they believe will be good enough.
And they had that in place before they watched the podcast. They had already planned all that. They'd already thought about that. It is very much something that was intentional and done already. And
not a reaction.
No,
and it's liquid. No. It's a liquid thing with COVID and all that stuff. Yeah, but they were
like, it's not a money thing. Let me be very clear. Like, as I've said the entire time, despite Louis trying to bait me, like I've always said you're gonna get your boxes if you back sorcery. I've never said anything different. I never have. Like, go back and watch it. You can fud it up all you want.
Right. Your words have never actually said that. There it is. One.
So where am I with sorcery?
Gosh, where are we on the May the Zoo be with you bingo cards?
That's I was gonna say, if you had fun on the bingo card, you finally got your box.
All right, we did this once before. I think we forgot about it. Maybe we need a season 2 bingo card. We will share the best bingo card on the podcast at the beginning of the podcast next week. Josh, you're gonna have a kid by then. That can be the number 1 spot. Free space next week if Josh has a kid, and we'll do a bingo card.
What is it if he doesn't?
Wait, what is if?
Well, like, you know, if you're on the podcast with your kid or not, or if it's sleeping.
What?
If you got it in your arms or if it's sleeping.
Oh, George, no, that's happening. She's coming on the podcast.
We used to do it with my kids all the time. Monarch or Second Monarch or
no entiendo. So
all right, continue. I don't know what that means. I don't speak Spanish.
Muy bien.
All right, back to sorcery.
I think they're going to try very hard to make this work. I think they're going to try very hard to make this the highest quality they can.
Wow, it's almost like somebody's been saying that for 3 or 4 weeks.
But I think like the overall problem kind of remains, which is like, listen, like this is a big risk. Like this is a big risk.
Sure.
And I think part of this is, again, I think some of this like isn't their fault. Like I don't know if you can have a boutique card game that has 30,000 boxes printed in China. That's not what boutique means to me.
So I think a couple things. Number one, what we didn't know, whether it was somewhere or not, somebody said it was in my Discord server, and I just didn't know it. But what we didn't know on the podcast last week when we recorded was that the current sample cards,
$1 of sample cards
are cards that were printed from the current printer that they are using. That those cards are. And so, like, I've held these cards. They feel great. And I understand there's a much different thing between printing 100 cards or 300, whatever the sample print was, to 25,000 boxes, whatever it ends up being with the Kickstarter. There's a massive difference there. But the point being, like, this has been in the works. And what they said that we should have focused on last week a little bit, maybe, and didn't, was that they are working on improving their communication. And that's something that I think would have been a more fair criticism last time. And we edited, if you guys watch back the podcast, we edited a lot because after the fact we learned that it was what?
Go ahead. Why'd you edit it?
Because I said a bunch of crap that wasn't accurate, that we learned wasn't accurate. Like
that you said a lot of that.
I think we all did, didn't we?
Well, I definitely started it.
Yes,
it was on me. My dialogue led to a lot of the conversation. So, shout out to Sorcerer. I agree, like, for how they handled that, and I think that says a lot about the company. Which
I
is
agree
what
with
I've been saying about the company, and maybe someday you can believe. Maybe someday you can just trust me rather than.
I would rather die.
Yeah.
Sure.
That'd be sad.
They need to again, I hope they have their roadmap laid out in the next 2 weeks, maybe next week. I think that's super important.
Yeah, they said they want to increase their communication.
I think there's been 3 Facebook updates since the aggregate closed. That's just not enough.
Yeah, I still lean into these companies should be sharing on a blog and then sharing that blog out to all their social medias. So you have a Twitter page, you have Discord. My new thing that I'm on is that these new TCGs across the board, anything that's not Magic or Pokemon, need to stop utilizing Discord and their own little websites, and they need to utilize all of social media to start marketing. They need to daily have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all these things that go to then a place where you can learn about the game on their website, like a blog. I think this is something I'm harping on in the last couple of weeks. But
I think they need to do that. I mean, I did leave the conversation with them far more confident than I started.
Good.
They did think through a lot of my concerns. Now, here's the good news for everybody. None of this matters. You're going to get cards from Sorcery.
Yes.
They're going to look good, or they're going to be damaged, or they're not going to look good.
Yeah.
And you're going to know. You're going to look at the cards and be like, oh my God, this is what I kickstarted. Or you look at the cards and be like, oh my God, it's falling apart. The foil is peeling, and there's marks all over it. Yeah. And nothing Louis or I said in the future is going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
This will become evident in the next 3 to 4 months, probably 6.
Is this the ultimate bet between you and I now? Is this the climactic bet?
I think it is the ultimate bet.
Oh, you want to bet? You want
What would we possibly bet on?
No, don't you have
such a degenerate?
Let's do some Sorcery boxes.
Okay, what do you want to bet on though? What's
I don't know. It's so subjective.
And I've seen how you define words.
I don't know. So what did you? Where's your current feeling on the game side of things too? They
also said they were much further along in game development than the 0.6 would lead people to believe.
Yeah.
And listen, if that's true, that's great. And I have no reason to think they're lying to me. Frankly, they have nothing to gain by lying to me.
No.
Again, the game's going to be good or the game's going to suck. If the game's going to suck, the game's going to die.
Shout out if you want to watch gameplay and want to actually see the game in play. Shout out to Mean Mugging Games on YouTube.
Was Mad Mugging,
Mean Mugging, something mugging games on YouTube.
This shout out's going fantastic.
Well, I think it's mean mug. That's a phrase, right? Mean Mugging Games. Oh, I am right. I love being right. Being right on this podcast is my favorite part.
It happens so rarely for you.
Shout out to Mean Mugging Games, who has been doing daily or every other day content on Sorcery and Cryptic, and really cool to start seeing that stuff pop up. So shout out there. Go watch your stuff there. And if you want to see the game played, I'm actually playing a game on Saturday with him. I don't know if he'll post the video or not.
He will.
Hopefully. So it should be cool.
The conversation, and I'll give another shout out here. This is always what we've said about every game, right? If you disagree with something we said, reach out and we'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Sorcery reached out. I didn't go, no, I hate your game, click. We talked. They explained where I was wrong on some things, explained why I didn't, where I maybe could have been clear on some things, and helped me feel at ease about some things.
Where else were you wrong? I just like talking about that.
No. So I think that they're, I think they have a plan. And now the question is twofold. Is the plan enough, and can they execute the plan?
Threefold. Is the plan enough? Can they execute it, and will they communicate it correctly, accurately, and with enough transparency?
I agree with that part, but I think that's by far the least important part. If the game, let's say the game comes out in February, like they said, and it's an amazing game, and the cards look amazing, and the foils look amazing, and it's just like everything they always said in the Kickstarter. Nobody's going to say, I really love this game. It plays amazingly. It looks great, but I can't play it because they didn't update me last week.
Yeah.
If they this is where the proof's in the pudding for all these games.
Yep.
Is the game good? Does it look pretty?
This feels like a. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Louis.
No, I was.
I didn't know if you were going to allow me to say anything about sorcery this week or not.
Wow, you could have chimed in at any point. You could have asserted yourself.
This feels like.
Let me tell you what else I really think about this.
A look at the birdie moment, and this has kind of come to me after we we spent a lot of time talking about sorcery between the three of us. We've had some good conversations, and I'm kind of on the side of Louis here, where it feels like this company wants to get things done as far as quality is concerned, right? The cards are going to look good, the foiling is going to look good, it's going to feel good. My concern lies over here where nobody's looking at one set a year, right? With supplementary options and stuff like that. I think that's not enough. That is nowhere near enough. If you engage a community and have all these backers and come out and you are huge and it's a big hit, but you've got nothing to follow it up with, man, you lose all of that hype so quickly. Every other game is moving forward. Every other game is releasing sets. There's new cards coming out. Disney Lorcana is right around the corner. You can't do one set a year. You cannot do one set a year.
Can Disney Lorcana please just come out and tank so we can stop comparing everything to it?
Even if it tanks, it's going to pull everyone's attention from these things for a certain amount of time.
In Grand Archive and Polywog, Disney Lorcana, no faith.
Hold on.
Won't hear about it.
Don't put
Lorcana going to zero, Polywog to the moon.
No. The viewers, please ask yourself this question.
Yeah.
Do you remember any time Louis said he had faith in either of those two games? Don't let
Did you back those games, Louis?
Don't let George's, what are we calling
Louis, did you give those games your hard-earned money?
You voted with your wallet.
I did back both of those games.
I've
never told other people to back those games. I told people to back sorcery. I have a video, I think it's titled Back Sorcery Today.
That's dangerous territory, my friend, because what if this does not go well?
Then I say sorry.
Okay, good, great. Never water under the bridge. Did you also interview the designer of Grand Archives?
Yeah, I did. I didn't say at the end of it, hey, you should go back Grand Archive.
Shout out Grand Archive for that interview then, I guess.
Yeah, wow, you're a great content creator. I'm sure you're lining up to give you the interviews now.
That's not what I do.
But they're not set up for a roadmap to continue to capitalize on the hype.
So here's where I think they have a couple of outs. Wow, look at me defending sorcery. It must have been a good conversation.
Or you just hate me this week.
I still love you way more.
I'm here.
You're my second favorite person in this podcast, Josh.
After yourself?
Yes, obviously. That was obvious. I felt. I'm sorry.
The only thing larger than how obvious that was George's narcissism. That was kind of a good joke. I kind of butchered it.
Why didn't you just go with ego?
Yeah,
big ego.
That was.
Oh, you gosh, you
ruined it.
Yeah. The set is roughly 20,000 cards. So you could easily split that up into 2 sets a year without a lot of hassle.
So
here's the other thing, and I will warn this for all of you lovely new TCGs that I love and adore so much.
Which now
I would rather have a good set a year than what some of these other games have done, which is release terrible sets, and you can see their game slowly start to die because of it.
This is all accurate.
I think it is these games are showing they cannot keep up.
So
with the cycle, huh?
Neither does it. One set a year and releasing terrible sets yields the same result.
So I think it depends on can they get it to 2 sets a year by splitting up the one set, and also how good are the supplemental products.
I also, Josh, think I
largely agree with you, Josh. Let me be very clear here. I think you're 85% right and 85% likely right on this.
This is easily the biggest criticism of the game in my opinion.
Yeah, and we're all talking about this, and no one's talking about this.
Well, I've talked about it.
I don't watch your content.
So
facts.
My take on this is twofold. Number one, before the massive success of this game, that's what they said. And they haven't, and this comes back to their communication. They haven't really come out and leaned into that. They haven't come out and been like, hey, we're doubling down on one set a year, just so everybody knows that's the way things are. I think with the success, I honestly think that they are so focused on getting this right, getting the Kickstarter right, that they're not focusing on some of those other announcements and ideas. I would say based on the success of the first box, they may start saying, okay, this is maybe a more viable business than we thought. Maybe it can be a bigger thing. We can put together the team required to put out more sets a year and that kind of thing.
No, if you're not if they're not going into this thinking that this is a viable business and as big as they think it is, they need to get out. If they're not all,
I never said they didn't think it was a viable business. I said they think it's a more viable business. I said they think it can be a more viable business. That doing two sets a year could be viable because they have the capacity and the money to do it. Their spend is equal to the number of boxes they're able to print. Before, if they were like, we can't hire 7, 8, 9 people as a result of not being, we don't think we're going to sell that many boxes, so we can't do more sets a year. And then all of a sudden, they now raise $4 million on Kickstarter, and they can start saying things like, okay, maybe we can hire a couple more people to help us push out more sets. They didn't think about how big that they could be until now. Now is when they have the ability to scale up if they desire to, and if they do, and they haven't come out and said they're not going to do that.
I think this is going to be the problem they're going to have to deal with. Is going to be like they're torn between two worlds, right? On the one hand, like a tabletop game, they can release once in a decade,
yeah,
right? Like it doesn't matter. Like on the other hand, if you want stores to carry it and you want people to promote it, you want content creators to make content about it, you can't do once in a year.
So and this
is they're torn into these two worlds.
And this is where I think some things are really important because this game is different than any other TCG that's on the market, in my opinion. It's not trying to have a competitive scene. In my opinion, they're not going to really try to have a competitive scene at all. That's not going to be their focus.
What does that mean? Like
it means like their goal for a player of this game is that you're hanging out at the LGS with a group of people and you play it. There's not necessarily going to be events and a whole event structure. That's
funny because I remember somebody else on this podcast a couple of weeks ago saying they were going to come out with OP kits in the future, but that must have been my bad memory.
So Louis, does that help the one set a year model? If you have no OP scene and you're focused on just like casual in person for fun play, does one set a year go further or shorter in that model? So I'm curious.
If George would have let me finish, I could have continued what my statement was. I think the community.
I was going to cut you off. It's fine.
I think that the community and the game creators can create things to give people who are casually playing a better experience and an increased experience. Think about off the cuff here. Think about if they released a different map where you could buy a new neoprene map that it had different shapes or a different print, and your characters now move around differently around the map, and it's almost like when you have an expansion to a game or a video game or that kind of thing. Think about something like they have avatars. It's all, I'm gonna call it heroic centered, right? They could print a set that is 10 new avatars for these colors. They don't have to worry about the extremity of competitive scene and $5 million tournaments and this thing and that thing. They are building what I look at like a commander level experience where it is fun to play at a kitchen table, at a game store, that kind of thing. And the communities themselves can come up with things. I've already thought of how cool would it be to print, play mats or play areas, kind of like in Warhammer, where you have different maps and different.
Bingo card. Continue.
You have different, sceneries and things like that affect the map and make it a new experience every time you play. I think there's ways to do that. And then kind of what George said too, the size of the card base allows you to do different things with the decks, which allows them to open up things into the different avatars and different dynamics with that. It's not a solved meta. Like, I don't think there's a solved meta problem that you have when you only have one set a year for another TCG.
Totally. I think you're totally right. And I love the idea, like when you broach the idea of different maps, right, as part of one of the subs, I think that is sweet. That's something that kind of you have exactly the product you already have, and it adds a new flavor. It doesn't require you to rebuild your deck or different cards like that. It's a new flavor. But I still really am curious what your take is on the fact that does casual play help or hinder the one set a year model, right? Without OP, I still don't know where you land on that.
I think it helps. I think stores need to stop looking at this as the next I don't think anybody's doing this. If you're looking at this as a replacement to Magic the Gathering, think you're doing it wrong. And George judges his new card games by, are they going to overtake Magic the Gathering? That's his like rate of success. No card game is successful unless Magic the Gathering is dead. And like, like there's
first or last.
room. There's
You're first
room.
or last, Louis.
Well, Magic's not even first, so you're wrong on that. Pokemon sells more boxes.
Okay, there is no way for any of us to know that. Louis is speculating.
I saw
which I will not do.
we're talking about it the other day, so it's got to be true.
That seems like an unbiased source. You're good.
My point is that like there is room for this as even stores who don't carry board games, right? You could carry sorcery as a board game experience at your store that is a TCG centric. It doesn't have to replace Friday Night Magic. It doesn't have to be a major event at your store. It can be a fun, casual game where people can pick it up and play, and they don't have to keep up with a huge meta and that kind of thing. I think that is the sales pitch for sorcery, in my opinion.
I think that's a terrible sales pitch. Like there will be a meta. There's not going to be a meta. There won't be data about what decks win and lose. Like what? Like Louis, be honest with me. You know that. Like I know you're closer to the team than I am. Is sorcery going to kill the internet? You can tell me.
Like I think there will be a meta in a way that there's a commander meta.
Yeah.
There's not.
Exactly.
There's no commander meta. Exactly. My point.
But there's net decks. Like
sure,
there's decks.
Like a meta. That doesn't mean that that doesn't make a meta. There's no reason that you have to play the deck because it's casual and it's fun. And if your deck is too strong, your play group's just gonna be like, dude, you're kind of a jerk. Don't play that again. My play group that we saw on our Commander live stream bingo card, our Commander live stream, they said the other day,
free space.
Louis, your lands deck
a lot of
was
free
too
spaces in this
strong.
bingo card. You're gonna have a whole row of free spaces. It'll be a complicated bingo card.
We could do patron prizes for people who fill out bingo cards.
That's talking about your patrons. That's a bingo space.
Free space.
My
go ahead.
My point's proven based on the commander thing that you just agreed.
I don't think that's true.
I'm excited when I'm I'm just excited for when I'm sleep deprived and I can't see the logical misses in some of these arguments. Like when the kid gets here and I've gotten like 2 hours of sleep in 10
what's
days.
the logical miss in that?
First of all, there's gonna be a meta. Second of all, people just don't have to follow it. You don't have the pressure in that casual environment to follow the meta. When you have a deck that requires 3 of a card, 4 of a card, and you only have 2 of a card, you're more apt to then reach into the pile and find something cool that you want to play in its place. So there 100% will be a meta, right? The difference is this set big enough and is the game popular enough to when I get bored playing the deck that I built, it's going to cost me money to build a deck of sorcery cards. When I get bored of playing that, am I going to reach into either the sealed product or the singles community to do something else to keep me re-engaged? Because nothing else is coming around the corner. It's up to me to reinvest and get re-engaged. And the only way that I can have a stockpile, so the no competitive meta might help that, but I have to have a stockpile of cards to keep myself entertained when I want to build a new deck, when I want to play a new way, right? So while there won't be a meta, there's still an engagement issue.
I think that's fair. What would you like to see? I'm looking up how many different avatars are in the set. What, like, don't you feel like the hero centric part of the game, it's not 5-color Magic, right, allows you to experience the game in a different way and say, okay, I'm bored of the wind avatar deck, I'm going to go build avatar, I'm trying to pick them up, but a different avatar?
It 100% does, but if I'm having a moderate amount of enjoyment in between my FNM games or on Thursday after my Commander pod, what if this building another archetype, building another avatar costs me $80, costs me $100? Even just at a casual level, like just getting enough cards to put in a stack and play, am I going to make that investment? And the problem is, without the constant engagement, the opportunity for more than one set a year, maybe it falls into the back of my brain. Now, once it's in the back of my brain, someone says, you should try this avatar. Well, I'm not passionate about it. I'm not going to spend the money on it.
I think
I'll
that's
play the one I have on board.
That's the biggest fear. It's like, is this game going to, in 6 months after release, is anybody going to be talking about sorcery? And we don't know that. And I do think that's the fear of once in a year.
Yep.
If there was a second set,
of course. Yeah.
It's an opportunity to. Now that doesn't. If it comes out and flops, it's bad. It won't
Sure,
matter
then
how
over.
many
Then it doesn't
sets a
matter.
year. Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter. They can do 20 sets a year.
But if it's great, you can still lose people.
Yeah.
So there are 8, 9, 10, 11 avatars in this set. I think that's a good chunk. I mean, I can see myself building 2 or 3 decks.
Totally.
I think that would be. I'm not going to build.
You're
all.
also not most TCG consumers, though.
That's fair. That's fair.
I can see myself building.
I think the bigger issue. I personally think the bigger issue with one set of years from an LGS perspective.
Yeah.
I think that it makes it harder to sell. And the question is, will they give enough other products that keep people excited throughout the year? And I don't think I hope that that's part of their communication.
Yeah.
I hope that that's something that they figure out. I think that my point is that is something that you can figure out after your Kickstarter comes out. Like step 1 is get your Kickstarter out. Step 2 is get the first wave of actual product out. As you're figuring out, it's way easier to get that first wave of actual product out than it is the Kickstarter stuff. You got to start here.
I'm weird then because I would have trouble backing that, knowing that like with the one announcement that it was 1 set a year, right? Or maybe there's no announcements of how many sets they're going to print or anything like that. I would have trouble backing that because my fear would be like, okay, I get really engaged. I really like this thing, but now I have nothing more to chew on. So I'm going to set it and forget it, and I'm going to move on to something. And that's the short attention span society we live in right now.
Yeah, I've been playing the same commander decks for 2 years.
Not the average TCG.
Like but maybe I don't know. Look at Magic; they're releasing 50 sets a week, and like the consumer seems to be rejecting that.
Yes, but there's somewhere in between, right? That is probably that sweet spot.
Yeah, I agree. George, your arguments, like your perspective of the success of a game makes your arguments just mute to me.
I've made no arguments.
And your eye rolling counts.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
let's
kind of
move
an
on.
argument.
Let's move
Let me
on.
ask you this.
Good try.
They're going to do 28,000 boxes of Kickstarter, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a little bit more. Let's say 30. What should be their print run for not Kickstarter but first edition?
I have no clue. Beta.
Is that a reprint of the same set?
Yes.
Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this exact thing in a couple minutes when we talk about it with Genesis. I mean, I think they have to evaluate that. Honestly,
okay. That makes sense.
Like, I think you have to see what happens with this.
No, you cannot wait till after Kickstarter ships to order the print run for this first edition. Like,
how long do you think they should come out with it?
I think it should come out pretty quickly.
No, see, I don't know. I don't know if I agree.
How do you play your game if you can't get boxes?
Well, it depends on what the price of boxes are. Do you think boxes are going under MSRP on release?
I think they're going to go. I think they're going close to MSRP. Yeah.
Right. So if boxes are MSRP from the Kickstarter, why do you need more boxes?
The stores have to get them.
Well, stores could have backed at the store tier. That's what
Not a lot of stores. I bet you some stores didn't.
Well, that's their own fault. Like, just because you missed out on pre-ordering double masters doesn't mean that you should just like be given free.
I remember
double
a
masters.
really cranky phone call from a friend who missed out on pre-ordering double masters and asking for boxes.
I did not miss out.
I gotta look through my phone.
Stop flooding my store.
I gotta look. And see
I did not miss out on double masters.
Who was that from?
Somebody else missed out on double masters.
It was probably me.
Cavadian Market.
Somebody else who is responsible for my order after I ordered it. I'm not going to get into exactly who that was, but when you place an order, it goes to somebody, and somebody.
So your pre-order wasn't in, and then you had to call.
My pre-order was in. Somebody didn't do their job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I got a new somebody. Shout out to Gabe, my new somebody.
And we're all very happy.
We're keeping that in. Too. All right. Let's move on.
Keep that in. Nobody knows what the hell you're talking about, so you can definitely keep that in.
We'll talk about first edition product in a little bit because we're going to talk about that.
That was
Gabe is my grandpa. Thanks for the shout out.
Yeah,
thanks.
My favorite. All right, Cryptic.
Relax.
Cryptic has boxes in hand. They printed a box. Good job, Cryptic. Tanner, shout out.
Shout out.
Tanner did a live stream on Instagram. Dude, Tanner was stoked. I have never been so like. It was so cool to see him opening his packs of his own game and be so excited about it. It was just really cool to see. Did you guys see it?
Yep.
What do you guys think?
He was stoked.
Absolutely stoked.
Josh gets it.
Wow.
That's great. That's great content, Josh.
Wow,
I mean, like,
good job, guys. Really invigorating. I'm glad you guys are so invested in this part of the segment. This is great.
I love the word invigorating. Good job.
he just learned it. So they had the cool box topper. That was the big takeaway. Everybody was talking to the box topper. I don't think it was on Instagram though. I think it was on Whatnot.
Well, he posted on Instagram, so that's where I saw it.
Okay, I think it was on Whatnot.
I don't watch Whatnot. Listen, everybody wants me to start doing Whatnot. I just don't want to do it.
Is George everybody now?
No, everybody told him. He was like, we're going to partner. They were like, no, we're going to be competitors. Then I did my own thing. Then he was like, why aren't we doing it together? We could be buddies. Then I was like, I've already hired 5 people to do Whatnot with me.
I get like 3 messages a day being like, Louis, you should do Whatnot. Louis, you should do Whatnot.
What else for me, Josh?
You didn't hire a person with a pre-built following looking for money, freaking out about to have a child?
Do you want to do Whatnot?
No. Dibs on Josh.
Yeah, Josh. Could do it between me and Louis. Who do you think can get you more hot boxes?
Hot single boxes?
Think hard.
In my area?
Let's have this conversation offline, Josh.
Yeah, let's have it offline.
Who do you think's going to give you a lesser percentage?
You.
Yeah, absolutely you. That's 100%. Easy.
You're going to trick me into saying, I'm going to promote you on my channel. That's how you're
George is going to take a higher percentage. That was the joke.
No way.
Absolutely not.
100%.
George wants to beat you so bad. He might take nothing.
I will beat George's percentage where I'm paying you to stream for me.
Oh, wait, do that. That hurts both of you. Okay. That's great.
That doesn't hurt me at all.
No, that's actually good. That's great.
Good. Yeah. Anyway, Cryptic.
The big thing is they showed the box topper, which looked amazing. And I want to give young Tanner a shout out on this.
Why? Did he give you a Scooby? That's the only reason you would do that.
He gave me 2 Scoobies, I think. But that's not what I want to give him a shout out for. I love Scoobies.
I got those too.
Did he give you a Scooby?
Yeah, we all saw the Facebook post, George.
So help me God. Tanner, his art is not only criminally underrated, it's very good art. Very, very good art. Louis putting up the art right now on screen of the box topper and everything else that was on his Instagram feed.
I'm just going to have the art. It's not going to be the box topper, but sure. Continue.
And it's also not just landscapes. Yeah. Every game does 10 trillion landscapes. And like landscapes are beautiful. They look great. I love them. They don't move along your story. There's no story of that tree. Nobody cares. Tanner's art moves along the story. That's why he's doing the comic books. He's taking the lore very seriously, and the art reflects that.
Yeah.
Good art from Tanner. Looks great. It was a great stream.
So I agree with what you're saying about, like, I think he almost goes too far to have too much of the like, that was one of the things I always noticed about Cryptic. It's all not creatures, but people. And I hope that they move forward, like continuing to do that, but also adding some more non-just people artwork, which they have in some of their spells, like Renewed Tenacity, Boneyard Survey. Like they have some of that.
And did you see the boxes?
There's so much less spells in the game because it's very much focused on your. It's not like it's like there's so much more to it than just like the creatures. But
did you see the boxes?
Yeah, they look sweet. They're thinner than I thought.
What?
Yeah, they're thinner. Well, I have a test box that's super thick. They're thinner than I thought.
They're embossed and everything. You're crazy.
I said they're thinner. What does that have to do with the embossed?
Well, thinning. If you emboss something that's too thin, it becomes holy.
What are you talking about?
If it's too thin, you can emboss right through it.
I meant like thick, like the box size is thicker, not like the paper not like the material that the box is made out of. I meant like
not the actual
the overall volume of the box.
Oh, okay.
It's thinner than I thought it was.
No, I don't really.
But it looks sweet. Yeah, the embossing is really cool.
The box looks great. It looks like a high quality box. Like he's doing what he needed to do. He's doing what you need to do to be successul. The market's not cooperating with any of these new TCGs all of a sudden.
No,
but like, they can't do anything about that. So you released your boxes when they're printed. and you wait out the storm. That's all you can do.
I think he said we should have boxes in hand like October 17th or 18th.
Yeah, which is
I don't think anything matters in the market before that. Like, I think
I suspect the economy won't turn around in the next 2 weeks.
No, but like we don't know exactly what's going to happen with crypto.
You want to bet?
Yes. What do you want to bet?
Louis wants to bet. Get him.
I'm in. I don't bet on the real stock market.
I'm not saying the stock market. I'm saying the economy will not be. I suspect that this will be the economy we have for the next 2 weeks. If I were a betting man.
Look, sweet. I'm super excited to rip open some packs and to play. I'm gonna do an event at the store too with the boxes. It's gonna be pretty cool. I think the best takeaways of this game is it's so easy to learn. Like the system to the game is so easy. They basically take what Magic does but evolve it. And I think that's a really good way to do it. He's
throwing it back to what Magic started as,
which is what
a way to kill time between different games. Like he's throwing it back to like I have a couple minutes between beers at the bar. Let's bust out some decks and play some games.
Yeah, you don't need all these things and stuff and items. You just can sit down and play.
No, like it's a and it's funny. Like I think he's not getting enough credit for this. Like he's doing very high end art, great boxes, high quality product.
They have a Christopher Rush piece
meant for kitchen table games, meant for kitchen table gaming.
Yeah,
like he's doing the things we've asked games to do. Like good for him.
He's attacking the right market too.
Yeah.
If you can sit down, you can play quickly. You don't need a lot of stuff to do it. You don't need high-end, expensive things. He's going about it the right way.
I think he's going to keep his print runs in check. Like he wants to build some value in the boxes. I think he has some cool things planned for
Where'd you learn that?
Cards.
Where'd you learn that? In Wave 2, which is coming out.
Did he post that on Facebook to help me?
No, I've said it on the podcast 100 times and you make fun of me every time I say it. Wave 2 has really cool exclusive items that aren't available in Wave 1, which is a really great way to do it.
That's pretty cool.
He gets it. He's been paying attention, man. Tanner's smart. Tanner's dangerous. He's smart and he's dangerous. Danger, baby. In this community, like he can put out some fires.
Don't you want to start fires?
He's a fireman.
Are you feeling okay?
He's a fireman.
His game is
a volunteer fireman. It was a joke.
The fire is growing and he jumps in and puts it out.
He can put out the fires when fires start, man. Super excited. Can't wait.
Your analogy game is not on point this week.
No.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about.
I would say we should refilm, but I'll be in the middle of a hurricane by the time we have to refilm, so it's complicated.
Yes. Let's do it.
We're gonna film while Josh's wife is giving birth. George
from the living room. George cosplaying the Wizard of Oz. I'll be in the delivery room, and Louis will be back.
I will be the rock that keeps us together. Everyone,
I'm out. The podcast is dead.
Let's talk about Kickstarter retail launches and what we think these games should be looking at and trying to do to make their retail launches successful post Kickstarter when they launch their first product. Genesis just came out with their plan for this. Why are you shaking your head?
That was the topic that we agreed on.
Yes,
we agreed this would be the Genesis section, and you changed it.
Well, let's talk about Genesis, and then we can talk about the other games too, which are following in Genesis shoes.
They're falling in their shoes?
Yeah, Genesis is really the first game that kick-started and now has actual boxes coming out, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, MetaZoo. Get good.
MetaZoo does not count. 15 people backed the Kickstarter, George. 15 people. Actually, it was like 110. It doesn't count. They raised less money on their Kickstarter than some of these games had as their top pledge. It's a completely different conversation. MetaZoo launched before the big COVID boom of TCGs.
I have a hot take for this one, so I'm excited.
What's the hot take?
Oh, no, I was going to let you two duke it out first and come in and win.
MetaZoo is not the driving factor on this. They're not. They didn't kickstart, and they barely kickstarted. It's a completely different story. They weren't raising 100, 200, 300, $4 million on Kickstarter and then trying to figure this out.
Sure, but how about the topic?
Let's talk about Genesis. And what they're doing with the retail kits. And then afterwards, let's continue to evaluate the other games, like I've said 18 times.
So I'll drop us in here because
Thank the
we
Lord.
seem to be struggling. And I have a really what I think might be a hot take on this. If you're going to kickstart a game and you get a decent backing, we'll say the games that get almost no backing aside, and they come out and then they happen to take off. If your game has a good backing, and you are doing what the three of us has said, we are not focused on competitive play. You're really focused on casual play. You're not focused on a big organized play circuit. Then I don't think that set should be released in game stores. Your next set, yep, I told you it was a hot take. Your next set should be in game stores. That set should be just for your Kickstarters. Just that set.
And maybe you come back to that set in a year or down the road.
Listen, reprints are an option. Stuff like that are an option. You can reprint these cards.
What a horrifically bad take from Josh. That's a great.
I don't know, man. I think it's interesting.
Listen,
that's
every time we've seen a
take.
Kickstarter take off and then the boxes come out in stores, they do not do well.
We have never seen that. What other game have we seen it?
Sorcery.
Not even printed.
I know. I couldn't think of an actual example.
No, George, MetaZoo
did not take off on Kickstarter.
They didn't do that.
Not take off on Kickstarter.
What games took off on Kickstarter that have done what you're talking about? Then
that's Louis' point. I made a bad statement. That is Louis'
point. Louis, come on.
I made a bad statement. I'm saying this is truly what I think.
This is so hard to do. Everyone, I need help.
Oh God,
we all know you need help. That's not news.
For a million reasons.
Yeah. Like stores won't carry your game.
That's not.
Wait, why?
George, they get the kit. They get the retail kit.
So I get the retail kit. So I have to run events for boxes I can't sell. And you think I'm taking this game?
You can sell them still. Like, but for all these games we talked about, they have a retail version.
But Josh's idea is I can't. Josh's idea is I can't sell that box, right?
You can't. No, you get the retail.
Shut your mouth for once and listen.
After the Kickstarter closes, if you're a retail store, you ordered a retail kit that comes with 1,000 boxes.
But let's say I don't get the retail. Let's say I didn't back it. Then I don't get it.
No, why would you get it?
But then when the next set comes out, you can buy the boxes then.
I would never carry that game. Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Then they probably don't want you to carry their game
great.
either.
They're going to get their wish.
Okay. So here's what listen, MetaZoo, listen, George didn't back you, so you have to give him some Kickstarter boxes.
But they made first edition, which is the same box.
But you didn't back them on Kickstarter, but you bought first edition. I
don't think you're understanding what Josh is saying because you're not listening. Josh is saying that it would be the equivalent of you don't get first edition Cryptid Nation, you can only take Nightfall.
Yeah, you get
because first edition Cryptid Nation doesn't exist.
Exist. The only Cryptid Nation that exists.
So there's no Mothman. The meta completely. There's no Chaos Crystal.
This model only works
if
the Kickstarter is successful. If the Kickstarter is not successful, you then have to print those boxes to the LGS because there's not enough of them out there.
Also, Josh is saying that Chaos Crystal and Mothman would have been printed in Nightfall as the same cards,
or the third set,
if they need,
or the third set, or whatever.
I think it's an interesting model. I don't think I would necessarily.
Why are you shaking your head at the notion of reprints? At the notion of reprinting a popular staple that people need in an alternate art, which you've advocated.
I'm fine with that. That ain't my beef.
It's an interesting model. It's definitely a more loved take by George than what I think is a good model. What I've said multiple times on the podcast that some of these games need to consider, which is being 100% a Kickstarter game, and not doing.
I think that's a better idea than Josh's dumb idea.
Why?
I mean, I think they're both terrible. But
wait, Louis, he just sided with you, and you're like, wait, no,
because it makes no sense. It's the opposite. Like, only have Kickstarter. You release your Kickstarter boxes, and stores have the ability.
Kits.
Stores have the ability to back it as a store at 50% discount or whatever it ends up, whatever it is. And then stores, if they want to carry the game, that's their pre-order for the set. And You don't need the distribution system. You have your own distribution hub that you manage the orders.
Okay, listen,
That's
boo-boo.
a lot of overhead.
Listen, boo-boo.
It's a lot of
These
work.
games have struggled with that.
That's not just these games, but yeah, any game that's
these games have struggled without distribution and delivering their Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of distribution. That's been obvious to everybody who with half a brain cell, even obvious to Louis with like a quarter of a brain cell. But listen, the problem that you'll run into is these games are just bad at distribution. Like that's the issue.
All right, we're not following our original plan for
That's
talking about this.
because the original topic was stupid and you kinked it on us. Continue.
I did not, Josh. Did I change the topic on you, or did we talk about this multiple times before we started? Pick a side, Switzerland. Pick a side.
No, we did talk about it before we started.
Me or mom?
George, you wanted him to change the topic, but he refused to do it because he's a dictator. He is a dictator.
This is my
podcast. He is a dictator.
All right, let's talk about what Genesis is doing.
Yes, yeah, a much better topic. Continue.
So I'm the only one that has a take on this.
Before you open your big mouth, we were supposed to start by talking about Genesis, what they were doing, and then say, here's some other things some of these other games could be doing. That's what we were supposed to do.
And none of you guys said anything, so I gave my take.
George was too busy worrying about the 6 people that backed MetaZoo's Kickstarter.
But so wait, you came up with this topic when you already had an answer pre-prepared that you said several times. I gave an answer. You both yelled at me, and then we moved on.
I agreed with you. I said I liked it.
This is what
I said. I liked it.
All right, you guys, come back next week. This has been bad. Come back next week. We'll do better next week. I promise. If not, just stop watching.
We've got Mark Rosewater on.
Well, no, please stop. Please don't stop watching.
Yeah, whatever.
Next week we've got Mark Rosewater on.
The Bone Zone on Scheming Skeletons Discord and Scheming Skeletons was very good this week. It's a great Bone Zone this week. Go watch that instead of this. It's much better.
Go ahead and Google that. See what pops up. Okay, let's talk about Genesis and what they put out. George,
go ahead,
this
George.
is your baby.
Oh, so they did 2 things that were different. They have different chase cards in it, different of the epics. And they goofed a little bit and they put in there was an error at the printer and they accidentally put in some of the recycle program cards into the boxes.
Okay.
This has become a hot topic in Genesis land. First, let me state the obvious that I don't think I need to state, but there's a couple of frankly morons who don't believe this. This was clearly a mistake. They did not accidentally include the recycling program cards in the box to pump the retail boxes. I know a Sid. There's no way he would do
how to
that.
pronounce his name last week.
Yeah, I know him. He wouldn't do that.
That's fair.
He couldn't live with himself.
There's much easier ways to pump boxes that he does not do. Might I add?
Yeah.
Yes.
There are much easier ways to do that, and he will not do those because he thinks they're unethical. So I can assure you he did not do this, which is would it be unethical if it was not a mistake?
Right.
Yes.
So this was a complete accident. I think people are way overreacting to this. I'll be perfectly blunt. I think Kickstarter will still have the pre-alpha cards. It will still have the signed cards. It still has box toppers.
People are now saying that the retail version is more special than the
I forget you're not in the community. Yeah, they're now saying that the retail boxes will now be more sought after than the Kickstarter, and I think that's total nonsense.
Sure, I agree.
Listen, the big chase from Kickstarter is the pre-alpha.
Yeah.
And also, the best thing they've done lately is honestly the recycling program, which you can now recycle at Compete Sport, by the way.
Everybody message George and tell him that you
message
have
Tyler.
Message George. Message George.
Tyler.
Directly.
He's at George in the Discord server. You have my permission to spam him.
So one of the best things that they've done is this recycling program, which you can now do at Compete Sport. And this is how you're going to get some of the rare, more sought after cards and the cards that are in the meta decks that weren't in the boxes. I've had people buy boxes for the packs because they need the Tiger. and the tiger takes 2 boxes worth of packs. So they're going to open the boxes and turn in the packs to get the tiger.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming. I thought the recycling program was, good for the environment, good for Mother and Brother Earth, good for all those things. That's great. But I figured it was be a feel-good thing, not a people would buy, not a way to increase sales, and it has.
Yeah.
Which makes me think like a lot of other games should actually do that.
Yeah.
Like I saw a big uptick in sales when they announced the recycling program.
So then what do you do with the car? You recycle the car packs? Or
Yeah, we have a recycling center right by me.
Okay, that's cool.
It's for, we care about the earth here in South Carolina.
Yeah.
That's a lot of trust.
It's cool.
I light them on fire with gasoline in the back. Is that not, I hope that's okay with the SID.
Is that not what you're supposed to do?
Is that not right? So yeah, I think that's cool.
Okay.
I don't mind this because I do think retail needed some extra oomph. And I think this delivers some extra oomph. Listen, I've been very critical of Genesis boxes, and that remains. I think they need to add some more oomph into these boxes still.
Yeah.
It can't be God pack or bust, and that's what it feels like still.
Let's back up to beginning of the Kickstarter.
We're all about backing up lately. Go ahead.
Let's back up to the beginning of the Kickstarter. And Genesis you say, George, Kickstarter's going to come out, and 2 months after, a month after, whatever it is, Genesis Kickstarter boxes are still going to be $80 to $90. $100 max. Do you think that Genesis should schedule and have ready a second wave of now first edition or whatever it is product? It's not first edition, but retail version of Origins. Or do you think, nope, boxes are $80 to $90, let it go?
I think stores need it. Stores need retailer versions. I also think, listen, if you want to recruit new stores, you got to give them something to sell. All these new games need more stores. Games that started off strong are now shrinking. The games that are small are not growing at the rate they need to grow. Lorcana is coming. They need to grow quickly.
Lorcana's going to take eyes away from some of these games, if albeit for a minute. The game
I agree. It won't be as big as Polywog, but it'll be close.
It could be a fiery disaster.
Polywog is getting so much advertisement on this podcast.
It doesn't matter. It's dead. You could.
I agree.
You could advertise it in Times Square. It won't matter.
It would matter a little bit.
No, it really wouldn't.
Think it would. It would cost the guy money, which
he doesn't have any. He's made this very clear.
Okay. So you think so? What should that print run be? Should it be more or less? It's got to be more than the Kickstarter.
No. Why?
What you can do? Print less boxes and make it more rare?
Yes. Because the retail version needs to be used to recruit new stores. That's the goal. That's the goal of the retail box for me.
Sure, I agree.
So I'm not going to buy a lot of the retail boxes. I have Kickstarter for my customers.
Your customers aren't going to want the more rare version of the card?
No, because it's not. No, because the Kickstarter I think will always hold a premium. I think just because something is a second print run doesn't make it inherently less valuable.
But the community thinks that. We've seen that time and time again.
Yeah. That's right. The regular foil version of my Pauper deck would be worth as much as the first edition foil or the first foil printing of my Pauper deck.
I think you tried to make a point, but I have no idea.
No, I got lost in my mumbling.
Are you doing okay, Lewin? Are you feeling, you have been really off your game this podcast? Are you okay?
Somebody Google, did they legalize drugs in your state recently?
It's only meth.
No, he still got all his teeth. They're right there.
People want the first version of the card. That's a TCG thing.
Yeah. The second edition is less value. It always contains less value, and if the product is the exact same and just
so Josh, you're agreeing with him, even if it's more rare.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I think
I can accept I'm wrong on that.
These games need new stores, and you're not going to do that just through Kickstarter. You got to give them some boxes. So you make some boxes,
and you just make enough for just what's one. So it could be 10%.
Yeah, I mean, I could be more than that, but I mean, like, listen, like, I had 5 customers ask me to order retail boxes for them. I'll order what they're going to ask me to order, but I'm not going to carry retail.
Yeah, makes sense.
And do you think maybe that's a path forward for some of these games? Just the model you just said, where you go to your local game store, you kind of build a scene, but the local game store doesn't necessarily put their money on the line. They literally take orders from customers. You can't get it off the shelf, but you build a consistent customer base. That way the game store is not risking money. Your players can get their boxes. The problem is it's hard to grow the community that way.
I think the smartest thing Genesis does, other than the recycling program, which I would have gotten wrong, is they make it so that if you're a patron of theirs and you get their promos and you send the promos to an LGS,
yeah,
you get an extra promo.
Yeah.
I've said this every week. I've said this every week.
This means that like you're going to go to your LGS and be like, "Hey, I'm here for my promos. You guys should really carry this game."
Yeah.
But like, if
I
I'm
really
the, I love that. So this is not a commentary on that. I love that. That's a great move. But if I'm that game store and I'm like, oh, okay, George, you come into my game store every month and you pick up these promos. Here's what we'll do. When you want Genesis, you tell me, give me a call. I'll put it in my distributor order and I'll give you a discount, right? Because you're coming to me and you guys feel free to come in and play this game anytime you want. But I'm not going to buy a bunch of it to put on my shelves because I don't want to front that money.
That is how every store carries every new game they carry. They find a champion in the store who will push that game. No game store looks for new games to carry.
Sure.
Games reach out to them. But more importantly, if you really, and I've said this to everybody, if you want your game store to carry any of the games we talk about here, not called Magic the Gathering, it is on you to go to the store, talk to the store manager or owner about the game, and tell them, I'm going to be here to run your events for you.
Yeah. I would have been wrong about this 6 months ago, but
that's not shocking.
Yeah.
That's how local games communities have started around me. So that makes sense. I agree. That's the best way to do it. But aren't you saying, doesn't it hinder the growth of a game like Genesis if Compete Sport uses that model only and doesn't have a box of Genesis on the shelf? So it's hard then when those people come in, you don't have the product to kind of go along.
I think you have to have some of the product.
Night.
If
now
they're going
it
to say
becomes a risk, right?
Absolutely, but if it's a small risk, right? I'm going to have a case. I'm going to have 6 boxes.
And once you have 6 or 8 players who are playing regularly, and then you can start saying like, it's not really a risk. I know they're going to buy it. I know like I'm going to have it restocked and such. Okay. I think there's also a line for a lot of stores where it's like, okay, I've now doubled my money off of these customers who are playing this new game. I'll go ahead and spend that doubled money on boxes to have on the shelf for them to help the game grow. It's really kind of risk-free because you've taken on a new product. It's kind of paid for itself. You haven't made profit off of it, but you have the product that now you're making. Yeah, I think that's another way that it works too. So, interesting. I think I learned from this perspective that you guys are okay with the second launch of the boxes being less printed than the Kickstarter run.
I think it almost has to be. I mean, let's go back to sorcery for a minute. I think 30,000 boxes of this first edition would be way too many. Way too many.
That's a super, I never would have gotten there. That's a super interesting take.
60,000 boxes?
Yeah.
That's way too many.
I mean, it has to just be, we've talked about this with other games in the past. It's a balancing act. It's got to be what the community needs, right? It's so much more important than is it double the rarity or half the rarity? Like that almost doesn't matter. If you want your community to survive, it needs to be exactly the right amount.
I wonder if then on those retail versions, you don't even want the flashier things. You almost keep it like a...
I think that's good. Yeah, I agree with you.
Keep it like a baseline, as cheap as the product can get for the store, as cheap as the product can get for a new player, because then you have the flashy stuff that's in the Kickstarter or whatever the next kind of first edition product is.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. You're really on top of it tonight, and you're doing great.
Let's move on. Let's move on. You guys ready?
I was born ready, baby.
All right, let's talk about Seance and the LGS kits that are coming out.
I need to order. I got to pre-order some Seance. Where can I do that? I also want a sweet.
I accidentally spoiled it a little bit at the beginning of the podcast.
Hoodie. Where can I get that sweet hoodie?
I spoiled it.
Seance box.
Oh no, George, you can't get a sweet hoodie. I had this conversation earlier.
Josh asked me if I would send him a hoodie. I said
no. I asked you if I could buy a hoodie because I'm on the podcast.
I said
no.
The only way to get this hoodie, and it's not even is it a hoodie? Yeah, it is a hoodie. The only way to get the hoodie.
Also, no.
All right, let me tell you about the bundle. So this is an MSRP bundle. All the product is at MSRP, but then you're going to get an amazing hoodie. It is a hoodie.
And we just learned it was a hoodie.
That might have been a hat.
That is embroidered with a "May the Zoo be with you" thing, plus a seance globe. What do they call this? A crystal ball is the correct phrase for it.
Seance globe.
Seance globe. Oh, should I call it the seance globe hoodie? Did we just create that? You're also going to get a hotel keychain type thing that's going to have the zoo will be with you, and then a crystal ball on it, and some coasters and a koozie for your beer. So lots of the zoo will be with you items here.
So we can stop free advertising on this podcast.
You can only do that if you get the kit, Josh.
I'm not buying one, Josh. Don't worry.
I'll send you all the stuff, all the goodies.
And how many of those can you get in a tall?
And a tall? Oh, I don't know. They're like nice thick woven hoodies though. They're like the.
I didn't say can I get it in a thick. I said can I get it in a tall?
I'm thick. I'm thick. You can get it in George, but not in Josh. All right. I'm thick. Tall. All right.
I don't think they have.
We should make a sizing chart for the hoodies.
Thick, baby.
I don't think they have tall sizes. Patrons, you'll get a discount. We'll be sending this out.
Wait, do they have thick sizes?
They have thick sizes. Yeah, I think it goes up to 3XL.
That's thick.
Yeah,
that's not thick enough. I need a thicker size.
Patrons, you'll get a discount if you're not a patron. This will be on the website too at KevDansMarket.com. I didn't tell you guys the special part of this, and this is only if it sells out. I came up with this literally like 5 minutes before the podcast, and I was like, I'm going for it. So I haven't really thought it through too much. But if it sells out and people get excited about it and purchase it, I will personally use the money to have a May the Zoo be with you Hawaiian shirt designed and available only to the people who purchase the kit at whatever the cost is.
Could you ride my coattails anymore if you humanly tried? You're
a trope. You're a trope on my channel.
Hop on my back. I will carry you to sales because God knows you can't get them on your own.
You're a trope.
You know how many things in my store I'm like, oh, geez, you guys, if you buy this, you can get a Kev Danes Market thing? None.
There you go.
None.
That's great. Fine. We won't do it then. We won't do the hoodie. We won't do
you have to do the hoodie.
No, you don't want it. You want to be a dick about it. Like we won't do it. We won't do it. So if it goes well, then we'll do a May the Zoo be with you Hawaiian shirt. I thought you'd be excited about that. And
I actually am.
No, you want one. Fine. We'll just cut this whole part out, and I won't ever say it.
Can all the Hawaiian designs, instead of being like from a distance, they look like flowers, so we would get up close. It's all three of our faces in various patterns.
Yeah, that was the idea about it. But George hates
our faces,
so it's not going to just be.
Sorry, it's just George's face.
George, I will have a special one made for you. That's just your face.
I'm in.
No.
The special one is what?
It's just your face that you give to him.
I'm out. I'm out. Too ugly. Too ugly.
So Seance coming up. It'll be interesting. I think this sets a super interesting dynamic with the half print run, and then kind of seeing what UFO is going on the market and seeing Wilderness. It'll be really interesting to see people's takes on the set. So I personally wanted to put together a bundle that people will be excited about for the May the Zoo be with you stuff.
Here is what I think is great about MetaZoo fans is they do find their community and they support them. Like, I mean, I know I'm part of two groups that have done very well with this. I know that you sold out of UFO at MSRP basically through May the Zoo be with you. That was great. I know that
anything through. Did we do anything for UFO?
Yes, we pumped your bags as always, but that's all right. I know like Capture Society, which I'm a part of, they did the bundle at MSRP that went well. MetaZoo fans find the road, and that's always good to see.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see the set. The theme of this set is not one that I was as excited for as UFO. I was so busy during UFO, I didn't get to put together a bundle just with life stuff that was going on and the channel stuff that was going on. But I actually was like really excited to put together the theme of this set. It just kind of worked. And we had talked about, George and I had talked about doing a bundle together for UFO, and it just kind of fell apart with the
We're doing this bundle together, and that's great.
Yeah. So fun stuff.
I'm excited.
Yeah. They also announced the tarot cards on eBay this week.
I think it's tarot.
Tarot. It's got a T on the end of it. They got to put like a little symbol on it if it's silent. Help the dumb people out like me. Tarot, is that really what it is? I've never heard that before.
Have you heard tarot before?
To be honest, I've never been in a conversation with tarot cards like that conversation.
You don't get your readings done?
No, that does not come up very often.
I thought you were like in therapy.
Yeah, but not that kind of therapy. Like
that's
actual
my kind
therapy.
of therapy.
Yeah. So it'll be really interesting, I think, what happens with Seance. I think people like that darker theme, like Nightfall was.
I agree with that. I want to give a couple huge shout outs here. Huge shout out to Steve Aoki, who is who won the internet, I guess. I don't really understand how music charts work, but he was number one on a music chart, and we're happy for him. For techno music. It was number one electronic album in the world. I think number 23 in sales on overall album. Really?
Yeah, I think really the conversation was like the MetaZoo. Did the MetaZoo sale help with that? Because it was people were buying CDs. Pretty cool. I bet he's the number one physical sales in the world for the last decade.
Mike gets a bad rap sometimes. I think that sometimes it's fair, sometimes it's not fair. But I think Mike has an unbelievable working relationship with his partners. Him and Aoki help each other out. Aoki got the MetaZoo tattoo. Aoki's all in on the zoo, and
that's cool.
Is it fair to call him a partner though? Isn't he like a part owner?
What do you want to call these people? Last week I called it a collaborator, and you were like, "Why don't you call it a partner?"
Oh, why?
This week, and why don't you call it an investor? Just pick your freaking name, you freaking donut.
Donut now. Have I gotten fatter than a dodo bird?
You're definitely fatter than a dodo bird. He did the same thing with the D Bruce t-shirts. Him and D Bruce have a great relationship. Yeah. Mike and his whatever name you want to call the people he partners with.
Well, that one would be a partner because they are a partner, not a partial owner.
Mike always tries to find ways to help them out and vice versa. And I think that's really awesome to see. We see this with King Pokemon. Him and King Pokemon are always real close. Yeah. Mike really does go out of his way to help his people.
This is the most involved that Aoki seems to be, though. I think Aoki seems to have gotten more involved recently, which is
other than tattooing his body permanently with MetaZoo.
That might mean more to some of us than it does to others.
Aoki has a lot of tattoos. I'm not trying to downplay the tattoo thing. I'm not saying his other tattoos don't matter.
I'm sure how many tattoos he has.
I'm sure that he's no Travis Barker. But
it's a much bigger commitment for you
that he had cancer? Isn't that the Blink-182 guy who had cancer?
That would be Mark Hoppus. If you guys want to do a Blink-182 podcast, listen, I can do a Blink-182 podcast.
at the gym earlier today. I love Blink-182.
All right, this will be a depressing story. So my wife was out of town for something, I don't remember what, and I went to a Blink-182 concert.
Okay. When was it?
It was so insanely depressing. I could not handle it. It was so loud. My feet hurt.
You're so old.
And I was old without telling me you're old.
They were all like me. They were all fat old geezers waiting to die. But before we died, we have to go see this band and try to relive our 20s. But we couldn't because everything was too damn loud.
Because of my damn sciatica.
Before COVID, I was going to concerts three times a month.
How'd that go?
Do you know that I crowd surfed at a Real Big Fish concert?
I crowd surfed at some 40
pounds of me.
I crowd surfed at some 41 a year ago.
That follows.
Yeah.
I can see some 41 fan.
Oh my gosh, I love some 41.
I can absolutely see that.
I'm not a big
I
Sum
can
41
absolutely see that.
Yeah. Love them. That was my childhood, man. Yeah. Anyway,
for you.
I congrats. to
Korn
Stevie
is
Aoki.
still touring, and I want to see Korn live again. But I
I'll go to a
know
Korn
that
concert
is
with
a
you.
bear trap. I
Wow.
know that is a complete and total trap. It's going to be horrific. It's going to be too loud, and they're going to look like they're
Definitely
90
gonna be-
years old.
It's definitely going to be too
100%
loud.
going to be too loud. Oh, George.
Anyway.
All right, so
George.
all right. Here's an idea for Mike: have Aoki do a concert, but have it be like at 20% volume, so us old people can go and have seats.
Yeah.
So we can go sit down and enjoy the show.
Nobody
It'd be-
wants to watch Blink 182 in seats. Nobody wants to watch
Yeah,
Steve
no,
Aoki
I
in
did that
seats.
once. I had to go to. We don't want to get into the whole. When I was in high school, I saw Plus 44, which is basically Blink 182 minus
Yeah.
Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
My mom had to take me to the concert because I was too young to go, and she wanted to sit in seats, so I had to sit in a seat and listen to it. It was not as good.
It's rough.
All right, back to MetaZoo. Back to the MetaZoo minute.
They should partner with Blink 182 if that's where we're going with
I'm
this,
all
'cause
in.
I agree with you.
All in.
This is a Blink 182 podcast that sometimes talks about Hawaiian shirts.
Hawaiian shirts, yeah.
It's good. Super cool. Anyway, I think it's interesting to see Aoki seeming to be more involved. And they have the AMP thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what AMP is. I guess
It's the Amazon Music service. Come on.
Is it though? I thought Amazon Prime was the Amazon Music service.
What about Amazon Music? Isn't that the Amazon Music service?
But it's cool to see like Aoki trying to, I think, be more involved in it. I think that's really cool and a big win. So, and then they have the LGS kits, which I have not. We are just recording right now, and they just announced it about an hour ago.
Yeah, we're recording early this week because of the hurricane. So,
Yeah. But the LGS
between
kits.
now and Friday, yes,
Look real quick. I think
use your
they're
best judgment.
I think they're giving us the ability to pick some things in the kit for
I'm picking
maybe
up the
different.
Blink
Maybe I noticed that differently. Anyway, but it's cool to see the LGS kits come out again. I don't know all the details.
Mike
on
is
them.
following through on what he said.
Yeah,
He deserves
for
credit
sure.
for that. Like Mike is
free.
Mike is following through on the LGS kits, and like he's big time following through on the partner stuff.
Yeah, for
Like-
sure. Yeah,
Like the big complaint we had about the partner was like, will he really give up the good products? Like, will he really give up the hot products? And he has.
yeah. He has done great. Like the partnership stuff. He listened to all of our feedback for sure.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't free, and then it was, and then I think even there were some price conversations with boxes and stuff that we had, and he really took our
Like-
opinions, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Mike's really stepped up, I think, the last, I would say, 9 months to a year, and really like followed through on a lot of what they were laying out the right. I think, listen, like I think there's still like, you know, we need some roadmap still on like the NFT things, something like that. But like Mike is, I think, back in the driver's seat. You just lost some subscribers. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. for that.
Like Mike is in the
Just on my way
driver's-
back up too.
NFT, board ape, mutant ape.
George, did you buy your board ape yet?
No. I like Mike deserves a lot of credit for how he's handled things the last 9 months, I would say.
Yeah, the push for in-store play, I think, is picking back up too as they start getting to the next events and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
He's taking
I
it
think-
seriously. Yeah, I mean, even from the distribution side of nixing some stores that didn't follow through with what they said they were going to do.
I still think they should do the one big tournament every quarter. Like, I still think that would help them a lot.
I thought that was the goal. Is that not the goal?
I think it is the goal, but I think they need to get there. But like, I think, you know, listen, they're doing a lot right, and like Mike deserves a lot of credit.
For those of you who love the promos, they also teased the Mothman promo, which I guess is officially coming out now. I don't know if I hadn't seen this one before. Looks sweet. If you were at the 2022 Mothman Festival like me,
Oh wow, look at that.
yeah, baby.
I can see it.
You could if you were on Discord.
I've actually already seen it on the MetaZoo Discord. I'm actually
Yeah.
in their Discord.
Looks sweet. I'm stoked to get that. I hope I get 4 of them. I had 4 of my family there, so I hope that counts. No? Are they just going to send me one? You want to do predictions, or are they going to send me 1 or 4?
6.
6? Oh, all right. That's cool. Those are cool. Yeah, good stuff.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
UFO, the big shtick was like the foiling on some of the cards went up in toward like near space, right? Like that was the thing. Is there anything like that in this set with Seance?
Some of them have actually been to the other side.
Okay,
Like,
so no.
Mike hasn't released that to the public yet, but some of them have seen the
Here's
future.
your
and they've come
Scoopy,
back.
Scoopy. Here's your Scoopy.
Here's a Scoopy
Gotcha.
Scoopy. Some of
So-
them have been to the other side and returned. And when you get those cards, when you feel them, you're going to know immediately.
So the reason I'm asking outside of your jackassery is because I am more confident and excited about this MetaZoo release than I have been in a long time. There's not a gimmick. Mike is listening to the print run. He's focused on the secondary market and the value of the box. He's leaning into these partner or LGS play kits, whatever adjective,
whatever Louis wants to call
whatever,
them.
whatever noun we're calling these things right now.
I get it.
But I am more excited about this MetaZoo launch than I have been in a long time. This feels like it's done right.
I will say, I have seen a lot more hype for this set than the other sets, which caught me off guard. I did not think when Seance came out, I was like, "Ooh, is this gonna be the one that kind of is this gonna be the one that MetaZoo finally fumbles?" Because it is a dark theme, I think the exact opposite has happened. People have been all in. People have loved it. People are pumped about it. People are excited.
I think it brings back some of that Nightfall vibes and excitement. Yeah. And we're also I think the timing, shout out to Mike on the timing of stuff. This is coming out, same thing with Nightfall, right before Halloween, when everyone's excited for that kind of stuff. Josh, I don't think that he has said anything. I could imagine that there's probably some pretty cool alt art type stuff in a set like this.
That's fine. Yeah. That's normal TCG stuff. I'm talking about we're trying to get you to buy this because it went to space, right? There's not a gimmick here. This is just, it's about the box of cards. It's about the product in the box, which means I plan to evaluate this box of cards as a TCG, fellas. Give me a sweatshirt, man. What is this ridiculousness?
Yeah, I'll get you. Well, you're so excited about Seance, now you can just get one when you buy it. It'll be perfect. Perfect culmination of everything. All right, everyone.
Are you a patron of his? You get a discount.
He is a patron of mine.
No, I'm not. You just what? In the Discord.
Did I really?
You're not a patron of mine.
Yes,
no, you're
I am.
Not. No, you are not.
I think we actually had this conversation where
Josh, I'm a patron of yours.
Patreon all of our money. Yeah.
Anyway,
are you? No,
of course
he doesn't have a Patreon account.
I got all excited. I got hell happy.
He's probably not.
Wait, how is he in the Discord?
George was the first that I let in without being a patron. It's crazy.
Mistake.
He was giving me boxes. So, all right, everyone. That's the end of the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and
retweet it. That's how you get the algorithm up.
Man, you guys know what we need to start doing is YouTube Shorts. I keep reading all about this. We can have this conversation later, but to edit this podcast into Shorts.
A month ago. I told you about this a month ago.
Yeah. I told you about this 2 months ago.
All right, everyone. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and may the zoo be with you.
And the Shorts with you.
Also with you.
I didn't even have to think about it that time. Aren't you proud of me?
You did good.
And George, you screwed it up.
I did the Shorts with you.